me say this about that. I'm no Bible scholar. I can't even tell you that I'm a Bible student. I just like it, and it makes sense to me. But it doesn't make sense in the same way that it does for everybody else. I have this unique, weird way of looking at stuff. And so I'm just sharing with you what comes to my perception. And take it with a grain of salt. If it works for you, that's great. If it doesn't work for you, that's great too. I think the Bible is something that will speak to your heart. And you can find your truths. And it will help you. Please don't let me or anyone else tell you what it means. That's your job. My job is to challenge your thinking. And sometimes the things that I pick up or I perceive might be just really whacked out. So don't take my word for it. Ponder it yourself. Please ponder it yourself. Because there is no such thing as an expert that knows what it's supposed to mean. If that were true, there would be one definition. We would all have the same truth. We would all believe the same thing, and it would be all good. And we wouldn't have all the religious wars that we've got, blah, blah, blah. So because no expert can agree on what it's supposed to mean, who am I to tell you what it means? Good grief. I'm nobody. I'm just somebody who thinks it's a really way cool thing, and it excites me, and I love it. It speaks to my heart, and I feel that I can find the love of God between the pages here. And I hope you do too. And I hope that works. And if you think I'm full of it, I'm okay with that. I want you to think. I want you to consider. I want this to be a journey of your heart, what that looks like for you. So, with that said, I think the Bible's way cool. and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. And we were going to look at Adam and Eve. And I think Adam and Eve has been misrepresented. So someday, I hope that message is, I have an opportunity to share with you my take on it, because I think it's really way cool. I know at first reading, it looks like God set humanity up. I don't think so. I think it's a whole different story than that. So anyway, someday I'll be able to share that with you, but not today. Can you tell I get excited? But anyway, in the second chapter of Genesis, I read that again anyway, thinking, well, this is where I wanted to go. I want to talk about Adam and Eve, because I want this to be really clear for you, or at least give you another concept, another perception of that, so that you can take a look at that. Anybody else need the Bible?
We'll take one.
Straight back. Genesis, first book of the book, in the book. First book of the book. Second chapter. Now, the first chapter tells us about creation. And not last time, but the time before, we were talking about how could have been 7 literal days, or could have been 7 eons of time. And that the sun, moon, and stars were created on the 5th day. So the first 24-hour period did not even exist until the 5th day. So sometimes we limit God and saying, you only have 24 hours. Done. Because we do the same thing to ourselves. We limit ourselves in thinking that we're constrained to our own expectations of time. In the second chapter, he's talking more about the Adam and Eve story. And I do want to get back to that someday. But I want to point you to the verse that lit up for me. And I don't know why it lit up, but it did. Let me share with you what you can do sometimes is get the book, just go and open it and see look at the page and see what lights up for you. And there's a message there. It's really fun. It's really fun. So it's almost like a particular word will be brighter than another or look like it's written in bold. Pray about it first. Ask for guidance and then try that. it's just a hoot. That's called bibliomancy, where you can receive a message from a book or the Bible. Because actually the word Bible means collection of books. So you can use any book to do that, actually. But verse 10, now a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 rivers. That talks about 4 rivers. And I thought, oh, river, why is that lit up for me? So I pondered on that a bit, and I was led elsewhere. I'm just going to give you in the order in which they occur from Genesis towards the New Testament to make it easy for you, and then we'll kind of put all the ideas together. So the next one, if I'm reading my little tabs correctly here, is in Psalms. The very first chapter in Psalms. Now, if you have a Bible that the Divine Fellowship gave you, there's a little tab in Psalms. Psalms are probably closer. Psalms, first chapter. And we're going to read the first 3 verses. Who would like to read those for us? Anyone? You want to read that, Sandra? Loudly.
Psalms 1, verse 1.
I got it in.
Blessed is the man
So she's
who
okay.
does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. And he will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. And in whatever he does, he prospers.
How cool is that? How cool is that? I want you to pay attention to 2 things. I want you to pay attention to the word delight and the waters. You know, when we were a kid, when I was a kid, when I was a kid, we used to sing a song called, it was a kid's song, so it was really easy. See if I can remember it. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. And when I read that passage in Genesis about the rivers flowing, that's the song that popped in my head. And then this was the passage that came to me as a result of that. Being the water, this watering ability, you know, when you have a tree that's running by a river, they have really deep roots and they can hang on to the banks. They even hold the banks up. And often they're tempered, so they don't experience the changes in the seasons as harshly as plants that are far away from the river. It kind of moderates the seasons for them. So it's like protection. The next passage is still in Psalms. Psalms chapter 36. Seven, 8, and 9. Don't forget the delight. I want to get to the delight again. At least I think I will. We'll see. Who would like to read 36, 7, 8, and 9?
Okay.
Hold on.
So how precious is your loving kindness, O God, and the children of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They drink their fill of the abundance of your house, and you give them to drink of the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your life we see light.
So there we have it again. There's that delight. Have you ever been thirsty? Matter of fact, talking about water, I'm thirsty right now. Are you thirsty right now? I'm thirsty. And have that cool, refreshing drink of water is just wonderful.
Okay.
Are we better? Yes, we're all better. Hope we didn't miss anything.
The first 5 seconds, and then I thought,
Oh, well, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, bless your soul. Wouldn't want to, Phil. Now, can I learn how to open this? Just twist. Oh, there we go. There's a trick to it. There we are. Thank you. Oh, I need that. Okay. So, back to delight. I'm sorry, I'm jumping up, moving around, this is crazy. I want you to look down in verse 37, or chapter 37, verse 4 and 5. Who would read that for me?
Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him, and he will do it.
Wow! Don't you love that? Don't you just love that? And here's the cool thing. God delights in us. How many people here have grandchildren or children or nieces or nephews, and you look at them and you just go, oh, they're just the cutest things. And they don't have to do anything for you to love them. They just exist. They make me really happy I didn't kill my young so that I can have grandchildren. But it's that delight that we have in that precious child that doesn't have to do anything, or even when they're cranky, we still love them. Because we can understand, oh, they just haven't had enough to eat. Or they got a dirty diaper. They're just unhappy. And we don't blame them or say, shame on you for having a dirty diaper. We change it. We make their world okay. We try to bring to them something so that there's nothing better than a baby's laughter. Have you ever heard a baby laugh? Just cracks me up. You can't be in a bad mood and listen to baby laughter. It's just wonderful. And when we have that same delight in the Lord, you know that first passage, or the last passage in Psalms where it talks about delighting in the law, that's not rules and regulations. That's delighting in the law of gravity, delighting in the law of consequences, delighting in that you put it out there, it's going to come back to you, delighting in the justice and the creative force of life. You have the right to create. Yes, ma'am?
This is a law. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart.
He will give you the desires of your heart. Now, here's the key. Sometimes the desires of your heart isn't what you think it is. We think we need blah, 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 but our heart is saying, no, what I really want is to be happy, or what I really want is to be independent, or what I really want is to be of service. And so that's what's gifted to us. That's what's gifted to us. Not what we think we have to have in order to be happy. Oh, I need a new car. No, you don't. Well, maybe you do. That word need, it's a word to be used with care. Because if I say, I need a new car, sure enough, my old one will break, and I'll need one. That's the power of manifestation. When you put it out there, it's going to come to us. But if we delight in this being that delights in us, there's this synergy that happens, and we can accomplish amazing things. The creative force of divine nature, coupled with the creative force within us, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Love it. Ready for the next one? This one's also in Psalms. I'm being easy on you. How wonderful is that? Psalms, the 46th chapter. We're just going to read the verse 4 of chapter 46. Who's got the microphone? You want to pass? Have we got? I think somebody needs to be keeper of the microphone besides me. Too much for me to think about.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth should change, and though the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, through its waters roar and foam, though the mountains quake at its swelling pride.
And read verse 4.
There is a river whose streams made glad the city of God.
One more line there.
Ta-da. The holy dwelling places of the Most High.
All right. There's that river theme again. There's that river theme again. So it's letting us know that not only is this creative source that we call God, or whatever you want to call that, it's also our refuge, a place where we can feel safe. Next one is in Proverbs. That's the next book over. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Verse 7. Go ahead.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of
Oh, I'm
knowledge.
sorry. I lied. Book of Ecclesiastes. Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. Sorry. I messed up.
1:7.
1:7.
All rivers flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place where the rivers flow, there they will flow again.
So everything cycles back around. You know? As a kid, I always thought, well, where does the water go? And it flows into the ocean, and then it's evaporated, and then it falls in the mountains and flows again. And it's continuous. So here's this continuous cycle of this flowing. It's always going to be there. It's there. And that flowing is important for us. Isaiah. Ecclesiastes. And Isaiah is shortly after that. We're going to Isaiah 58. It's Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah. Chapter 58, verse 11.
And the Lord will continually guide you and satisfy your desire in scorched places and give strength to your bones, and you will be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail.
How nice is that? You're not going to be as scorched. 58, chapter 58, verse 11. And the Lord will continually guide you. I think that guidance is such a beautiful thing because we think we have to have like a lightning bolt from heaven. No, we don't. It's just like looking and having a situation on your heart, then opening the book and seeing what word pops out for you. That's guidance. Having a friend come up to you and say, well, I was just thinking about blah, 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 and it was just what you needed to hear in that moment. That's guidance. You're continually guided, even if it's the simple thing as a beautiful sunset, for us to recognize that we're taken care of and we're loved. Let's move on to the next one. In the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. John chapter 4. Are we confused yet? I hope not. John chapter 4. And this was Jesus at the well, and this lady was there. She was getting water. Jewish people didn't talk to Samaritans, and Jewish men didn't talk to women. So he was talking to the Samaritan woman. So double no. Double no. I love it. Don't you love it? He didn't do the rules. Don't you love that? Got it. So verse 10. Who would read verse 10 for us? Jan.
Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water."
Okay, and it goes on to say that, if you...
No, it doesn't.
Try it again. Do it
Everybody
again.
here? Okay.
Let's do it again. Why not?
Okay. Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water."
Now zip down to verses 13 and 14.
Jesus answered and said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water shall thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall become in him a well of water springing up to eternal life."
Hold that thought. And go to John chapter 7, verse 38. John chapter 7, verse 38. Thank you.
He who believes in me, as the scripture said, from the innermost being will flow the rivers of living water.
Okay. And this he spoke of the Spirit. For the Spirit had not yet given because Jesus was not yet glorified, but that living water. And that is when the Spirit, divine Spirit, connects with our spirit. And there's like this artesian well of water, of refreshment that comes to us. And it's inexhaustible. So I want to take us on a quick guided meditation. I want you to experience this.